Good evening. Good evening. Oh, am I muted? No, I'm not muted. Good Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ben's Camera Show, episode 24, also known as Series 3, Episode 4. That's right. I'm still at it. My goodness me. What a busy week I've had. I think I say that every week. But, you know, doing these shows, they do tend to take your time up. I'm telling you. Well, I'm glad to see all of you in the chat room tonight, and including some new live show watchers who've told me that they've seen the show before, but this is their first time live. So welcome. I can answer your queries. That's what makes the live show more fun. When you look at it, you can make comments, and I can see them, and I can respond to them. So yes, we're all a big camera community here. And tonight, although I know it's not night for some of you are in the USA where it's still daytime. To be honest, it's still daytime here because the days, they are getting longer. In fact, the days got so long that I had to go and buy a whole load of blackout material for tonight's show, because tonight's show involves projectors. It involves projectors, and it involves scanners, and it involves scanning, because it's all about scanning. It's all about scanning your Super 8 film. Don't worry, there will be cameras involved, but they're mostly wrapped up in scanners. Cameras. They are scanning cameras. Anyway, so you've made your film. So you've made your Super 8 film. Now what do? Well, you can just sit and sort of, look at it with a magnifying glass, or of course you can project it in a projector if you have a projector, or you can send it away to be scanned, and then you have a digital copy. Then you can see it on your computer, like everyone else in the 21st century. However, easier said than done. Hey. What's going on here? Some comments are coming in straight away. It's 11 a.m. in sunny Arizona, and 2 p.m. here in Toronto. And Awesome Camera says first time here as well. Well, that's awesome. That is awesome. So yes, it is a show tonight all about scanning and digitizing. That's right. Digitizing and scanning is a huge part of the Super 8 process. In fact, the 60mm process, even the 35mm process, anything that involves film has to be watched somehow. And we don't all have Super 8 projectors, do we? And if we do have them, they don't all work. And if they work, they don't all go put the film through without jamming. And if they do put the film through without jamming, they don't all let the film go through without scratching it somewhere along the way. So we're going to take it slow. We're going to go right the way through from soup to nuts. God, another 1930s expressions. We're going to go from the very, very low tech all the way to the very, very high tech. And we've got a guest later on tonight. That's right. Manny Salazar is going to be on later. He's going to show us his Homebrew scanning machine, because a lot of people are just building their own, which is amazing and far, far beyond what I'm capable of, probably. But we'll get to all of that. So, first off, for scanning. That's right. You've, as I said, since you've made your Super 8 film, or even if you haven't, it's a good idea to have an eye open for the scanning options when you have finished your film. Is it destined just for a computer? Do you want to send it through the internet? And do you want to project it on the wall for your family and friends? Well, all will be revealed tonight. Another person from Arizona. Oh, well, Manny and CJ Costa Rica, both from Arizona. You guys should hook up together, because it's God knows there are not enough of us film heads out there. Now, if I'm looking a bit colors are a bit orange today and I'm a bit sort of digitized and blurry. That's because for the first time since I started doing these shows, for the first time, you're going to get to see a bit more than just me in front of a green screen. That's right, because look behind me, and here I have all sorts of doohickeys and stuff set up, and I'm going to go through it. I'm going to show you a few bit of hardware. Yes, a bit of interesting hardware. I also have another camera over there, and I'm not going to show you quite yet what that's pointed to. So let's begin. What's the very basic, what's the easiest, the most simple, and the most obvious way to scan your Super 8 film? I'm going to say Super 8, but just take that as either Super 8 or 16mm or Standard 8, because Super 8 is just it's the one that gets used a lot. So I'm just going to say Super 8, but I mean every format, even 35mm. Although, my God, if you're shooting on 35mm, what the hell are you watching my show for? Oh, God. So the very basic way, the very simplest way is to project it on a wall and film it. And that is how the very earliest scanning was done, really. Back in the day when every photo shop, and I'm not talking about the software, but every photo place like Snappy Snaps or whatever had a scanning service. Some of them would just project your film on a wall and film it. I know that for a fact because I've sent my film out to be scanned in 1989, and when it came back, I swear I saw little bits of dirt and stuff on the guy's wall. Yeah, that was a cheap scan, that. And I'm assuming that you out there want to go for a cheap scan yourselves if you're just starting out. Why not? Why not, just project and film? Well, I'll tell you why not. Because you have to be very careful about what projector you use and what camera you use. And there's a thing called flicker. There's a thing called flickering, which is a big, big problem with scanning your Super 8 at the sort of low end. But at the very low end, let's have a look now. What I can suggest to you first is these days everyone's using mobile phones to film everything. Now you can use a DSLR, and I'm going to get onto that. You can use a 4K video camera. Fine, you got one of those. You set your film up on a projector, and you project it, and you film the projection, and there you go. You got a digital copy of your film. Not quite as simple as that. Firstly, you've got to get, if you're using a phone. And I'm not going to unlock my phone with the passcode right in full view of the camera like I did last week, so everyone knows what my passcode is. Of course, you don't know where I am at any one point, but you could steal my phone and use it. Don't steal my phone and unlock it. I've changed the unlock code, which is annoying because I had my unlock code just down, and now I had to change it. So yes, I have a phone now. I have a video camera app on this phone, and it's the one that this one came with. And it's not very good, the Android. I know that some of you out there got iPhones, fair enough. I've got an Android because I like the... if you're interested in phone cameras, check out last week's show after this. It was all about phone cameras. Very interesting time we had too. So... yeah, I've got an Android, a Motorola G7 Power, because it's got a battery that lasts for bloody ever. It will not quit, and for me, battery power is the most important thing. So the native video camera on this thing, not very good. So I got something called Filmic Pro, Filmic Pro. It's a video camera app. Cost £12. Cost me £12, which, considering how much video cameras cost, it's not too bad, So I stumped up the money. I bought Filmic Pro, and the good thing about Filmic Pro is that it is amazingly well adjustable. You can adjust your so many more factors other than just your brightness and your focus. You can adjust your shutter speed, which is very important. You can adjust the frames per second, also very important. I cannot recommend it enough. If you're going to just film the wall with your Super 8 projector, with your regular native video camera app on your phone, think about getting Filmic Pro because it's very good. Okay, now, what do you do once you got Filmic Pro? Well, okay, well, I've got two cameras here. Not the phone camera, but I've got the camera that you're looking at me now, and I've got another camera which I'm going to use for close-ups. There we go. There's the other camera, right? And as you see over there is a little tripod. Never mind the projector. There's a little tripod here, which I'm going to put my phone onto, and we are going to look at some film projected on. I'm not using the wall. I'm using a piece of paper. Good enough. So there's going to be a lot of like, bear with me while I get the camera set up, but it's going to be worth it. Okay, so let's go. Here we go. Okay, so the phone is right next to the projector here, and you have to get your phone lens as close as possible to the projector lens here. Okay, projectors, the image is coming out of here. The phone lens is here. The closer you can get without actually casting a shadow, the better it's going to look, because you won't get so much keystoning. And there's our image being recorded on the phone. Now, like I said, Filmic Pro, excellent piece of software, because you can do all sorts of amazing effects, such as you can change. There we go. See, you can change your frames per second. Now notice that. Look at it on the phone. Do you see that? Do you see that black thing, that black bar that goes from bottom to top? Okay, this is a perennial problem with filming your stuff on the screen, because if the frame rate between what you're filming and what you're projecting, if it does not match up, then you're going to get these black bars, these vertical bars. And you have to match up the frame rate. This is, I think the best I found was, I think 25 frames per second. And the focus, let's get the focus right. There we go. It's a Kung Fu film, actually, this one. It's a Kung Fu film. It's not actual proper Kung Fu film. It's the Kentucky Fried Movie one. A Fistful of Yen, it's called. So yeah, so it is possible to to film, and not only does that, but the Filmic Pro has live color correction as well, which is great. So you can actually, you probably can't see what I'm doing here, but you can adjust, you can color correct your picture at the same time as filming it, which is brilliant, because some films, as you will see, suffer from magenta syndrome. What's magenta syndrome? Anyway, so that's the basic phone thing, all right? And you've got yourself a digitized Super 8 film, or 16mm or whatever, okay? So that's the very basic one. I'll be showing you some results of all of this in a minute. Watch and Shoot says, I sent my Super 8 film to a Photoshop in 2019. Cost me £50 and it was just a projected image. Yeah, there's some cowboys out there. There really are. Film Barry Steinlager. I hope I'm getting your name right. I'm just speaking the very German pronunciation. Says, film photography project just processed and scanned a 16mm test roll, and it came back looking great, even though it was just a test. Yeah. I mean, 16mm is going to look great anyway. And CJ Costa Rica says, Ben, you should look into a headset with a mic on it so you have two. Yes, absolutely. In fact, I do have a lavalier mic. I was so busy trying to set all this equipment up today. If you don't have a mobile, or maybe if you do have a mobile, but you want to go maybe up a notch, maybe you've got a DSLR. Maybe you want to film on the wall there. Maybe you want to project and film that. Don't go straight to the wall, because this thing here, let's get the light on it, is a step up from projecting on the wall. It's called a VCR4. And it is nothing to do with video cassette recorders. I don't know why they called it VCR4, but it's also called a Telecine box. I was only using it right now to hold up the piece of paper. This is a Telecine box, And the idea behind this thing is that you... Let me sit down so you can actually see me. Right. The idea behind the VCR4 Telecine box is that you project onto this. This is a little screen here. It's actually a back projection screen. And inside this thing is a mirror which can be rotated using this knob on top. And when it gets rotated, what it does, the picture gets reflected here, and then it gets reflected here, and then it comes out here on this side. In fact, let's get a better look at that. And as you can see, this end has a kind of lens on it. It's not really a lens, it's actually a kind of, it's a viewing port of some sort. And this is where you put your camera. And the camera, I'm using a Canon 70D DSLR, kind of a mid-range, not particularly amazing DSLR camera, is seeing the picture that got projected back into here. It's seeing it through this port here. Right? Now, you don't have to use a DSLR, you can use any video camera. But the main thing is that it gives you a much clearer image than just projecting onto a wall and filming it. Also, you can film, there's no keystone problem. The film will be completely square and face on. Let's get it running again, and we'll see what we're doing. For a long time, by the way, I did this the wrong way around. I projected into here, and I filmed on the little screen on the other side. Not the right way to do it. Let's get the feed from the DSLR and we'll see what we're doing. Okay, now what we're seeing here is the view from inside that little viewport. And as you can see, we're getting the banding. That's called banding, when you see those black lines go down. And it is, as I said, due to a mismatch between the frame rate of the projector and the frame rate you're videoing with. Luckily, with this camera, there's something called Magic Lantern, which is a firmware that you can get with where you put it onto your card, and you put it in the camera, and suddenly you get expanded functionality of your DSLR camera. It only works with certain cameras, with certain Canon cameras, and here this is very important. This is called FPS override. Frames per second override. Okay, now when I am in this mode, FPS override, you can adjust the frames per second of the camera minutely. See, from 18 to well, you can go all the way down to like 1 frame a second, which is no good really. See, that's like very low frame rate. The banding is gone, but the picture's crap. And I'm just going to nudge it upwards to, I think 17 frames a second works kind of well. If I do it too high, look at that. See, we're getting that. So I'm going to dodge it down a bit. No. Ah, that's good. That's not bad, I think. What are we at? 20 frames per second? Yeah, so once you've got your so this Canon is actually quite good the way it's you can change the frame rate. Another way to change the frame rate, I'll get myself over here. If your projector has a speed function, if you're going to be doing this on a projector, it's very good to get one with a very smooth speed adjustment. So I'm slowing the camera down. You're getting flickering, see that? And then speed the camera up, also flickering. And you can just about find the sweet spot there. There we go. That's the sweet spot. Now, as you notice, this picture is not filling the screen. And that is because my camera does not have a zoom lens on it. But if I had a zoom lens, I'd be able to zoom right into there and optically be able to fill that screen. Okay, so here is a better quality Telecine, in theory, than just filming it off the wall using this VCR box. And if you've got a projector and one of these VCR boxes and a camera, then this is the kind of like one step above just filming it on your phone. You will get a slightly better quality image, especially if you've got a zoom lens, which I don't have with this. Right? So we all clear on the VCR4 box. You can get these things on eBay. Well, I don't know. I got it so long ago. I can't remember how much I paid for it, but I think you pay about £100, $100, something like that for one of these. If you're lucky, you'll find one at a thrift store. They make others which are, this is a Sony one. They make others which are not quite as good quality, but yeah, they all work on the same principle in that you project in one side, and then you let's switch the DSLR. We're all getting distracted watching a fistful of yen there. Oh God, do you remember? Anyone seen Kentucky Fried Movie? Yeah, that was a funny film. I remember that. So yeah, here's the so there's the projector. And this thing pulls out, and I'm not sure exactly what the function of that is. I think you can use it to focus on. If you turn this thing, it'll project onto it, and you can focus it. Not quite sure, but anyway, I don't really use it. Right, VCR4. We've done that. What other options do we have? Well, what have we got here? Dun, 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 da, dun, boom, 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 boom. It's a Wolverine. It's a Wolverine scanning machine. Now, I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that no piece of equipment, no piece of Super 8 or camera equipment has caused more controversy than this thing here, this unit. This is a home scanning device. Mine's called Wolverine. They also make them under the name Win8 and I think also Reflector. But they're all very similar, and I think they're made in the same factory. And what this is basically is a self-contained unit where you put your film onto this spool here. It goes through. Let's get some better light on there. There we go. It passes it through one frame at a time through the gate. It shines a light below it, and a camera is above it, and it takes a picture one frame at a time, and then it goes through all this business, and then and then out, and then gets collected up on the take-up reel here. Now, if you're serious into Super 8, or if you've got a lot of family Super 8s to digitize, you might want to seriously consider one of these, because for the price of one of these, and they cost about $400 in the US, £400, £300 if you don't get the Pro version. This is the Pro version because it does 1080. And you want to get scans of your precious family films, you might want to think about getting one of these, because if you scan more than, say, I don't know, 20 films or so, the thing is basically paying for itself. There are many drawbacks to this machine, which I will go into. But firstly, I'm going to quickly show you how it works, how to thread it up, and a few problems and a few caveats. Right. Okay, class. So we're all paying attention. You start by, this is a folding arm. Start with putting it on here. This thing is not motorized. This is just a holder to hold your film. Now, it takes Super 8, and if you take this thing off, and you can put a standard 8 one into there. It has a little adapter here. So we're using Super 8 today. So you get the Super 8, and this is the important business here. Okay, it's got this thing here. You do the switch, and it opens like that. And then you follow the line. You get it through there. And there's 3 little clips here, and you've got to get them into all 3 of them. You got that little white clip there. There's one here, and there's one here, and they basically just hold the film steady as it goes through the gate, because film is kind of curved. Sometimes it's kinked. So it needs to be held properly. So once it's all in there, like that, see, then I close the lid like that. All right, and then it has to be wound through. These little things. Now, the reason for these things is that it's to sort of reduce the pull on the film. And then it goes through the back reel like this, the take-up reel. Okay, let's switch it on. Oh yes, and you have to, very important this, you have to tell it whether you are scanning standard 8 film or Super 8 film. If it's Super 8, you got to push the switch over to Super 8 there. So let's switch it on. There we go. And then basically you just press enter and press it again because it wants to do it twice in case you made a mistake. And then frame by frame, there we go, bit by bit, it scans the film, one frame at a time. And then what it does is that when you finish scanning, it will give you a MP4 film of all those frames. It makes it into a video file straight away. You don't have to do that yourself. It'll make it into a video file. Probably can't really see very well that thing, the screen, but it's got a little LCD screen so you can see how your film is going. Now there are various things you can do to adjust it. Let's stop that for a second. And we can get even closer here. That's okay. So in the menu, you've got, you can play it back on the LCD screen. Never do that. I don't bother with that. Rewind, that's annoying because you have to turn the reels around and it's very, very slow when you do that. You can adjust the exposure, the sharpness. My advice, don't touch them. And the language, frame adjust. There, you see frame adjust. That is important. If you choose frame adjust, you can jig the picture left and right, back and forth. You see that? See, it's turning X, Y. You can change it. You can change the height, the width, and the zoom in or out, which is very important, really, to make sure that you're getting every piece of your frame there. What else do you have there? You've got oh yeah, there is also film type. See that says film type? That's where you can get it to automatically change it from positive to negative. If it's positive, it's just going to scan it as is. If it's negative, it will actually flip it to make a positive picture. I don't bother with that. I just do everything on positive, and then I take it into Premiere for the post-production there. And version rewind. Now there's oh my god, there's so much more to tell you about the Wolverine. I could do an entire show about the Wolverine. But I'm not going to today. I'm going to tell you a few things about this. I may do that in the future, actually. Oh, right. Okay, here's the downside of the Wolverine. Okay, the downside is, firstly, some of the times they scratch the film. Going through these rollers and stuff here, they can actually put scratches on the film. Also, inside this flap, inside this gate, there are some adjustment screws. And if those are not adjusted properly, it can press down too hard, or it can skew the film, and it can scratch it that way. Also, the video it makes is highly compressed and it doesn't look very good. I'm talking artifacts here. Yeah, the video is not the best. And you cannot output as a series of raw images, which is a big problem with the Wolverine. What else is the problem with the Wolverine? The back wheel here, it can make too much tension. It can pull a bit too hard on the film sometimes, which is why some people, they let the film come off the gate and then they go straight down and the film just goes down into a bin, like that one. They just let the film just go into a bin and then they reel it up later. And that stops that solves some of the pulling problems that these things have. They're not perfect. The thing is that even people who are fans of the Wolverine will be the first ones to admit that the one you get in the shop straight out of the box has a few issues. Not only that, the camera is just 1080p, whereas a lot of digitizing cameras are now like 2K, 4K even. Not this. This is 1K. So yeah, and some people have actually homebrewed their Wolverines to improve them, and I'll be getting onto that in a minute. But firstly, why don't we look at some results of these 3 different ways I've shown you now? The three different types of scans. There's a filming against a wall, there's the VCR box I just showed you, and then there's the Wolverine. Of course, what I've done in advance of this is I have scanned some film, the same film, all with all 3 of those, and we're going to look at the results of that so we can actually see which one came out best. Now, before I start, I ought to tell you that this film that I used had a bit of like magenta cast to it. It's an old film, and it's gone a bit purple over the years, which is an interesting challenge for this. So let's have a look. I didn't use a home movie. As you can see, I used the film Alien, which I have on Super 8. Very, very orangey red. And this is actually what the film really kind of looks like. It's using the DSLR and the Telecine box. Yeah, you know, not bad, but not amazing. There is the orange. You can correct that that cast. You can correct that kind of purple, that orangey look in post. And now here is using the phone and Filmic Pro. The colors, I think, are a bit better. The resolution, yeah, similar, about the same. I think with Filmic Pro, you might be onto something if you. This is only costing £12, the app. And yeah, so it's kind of equivalent really to the Telecine box. I'm surprised how good it looked. And finally, the Wolverine. Now, it is absolutely far and away the best quality result. There is no flickering problems with the Wolverine because it's just you're not filming something that's passing the film through at 1824 frames a second. It's just taking every single frame and then making the video afterwards. So there is no flicker with the Wolverine. And the resolution, not too bad, really. Not too bad. So, yeah, I mean, if you develop your own film or if you've got a lot to show, then a lot of films you want to scan and see what they look like. Watch out for the scratching thing, but yeah, by all means, get a Wolverine if you just want to sort of log scan your films. That line, see that line a quarter of the way over? That might have been caused by the Wolverine. I'm not sure. So yeah, the Wolverine. You know what? I'm a bit of a Wolverine apologist, but there are people out there who, oh my God, they have gone completely Wolverine crazy. And I'm going to show you some of what they've done. Okay, there is. I have to get these names right because my God, there's people who've basically taken this Wolverine, and they have done amazing things with it. Look at this. This is the Wolverine Hawkeye scanner, as invented by Stan Jelovic. It might be Jelovich, I'm not sure, but it's he has been working very hard. He's an American guy, working very hard on taking a Wolverine and basically modding it so that he put a better camera in it and a whole bunch of other improvements to it. In fact, Stan and has a Facebook group called Wolverine Hawkeye Scanner. They just accepted it. It's a private one, but they accepted me into it today, where he talks about the scanner. They have footage that they've shot, that they've scanned. They talk about all the things you can do to it. In fact, let's have a look. I've discovered this this discussion on a website called 8mm forum, 8mm forum.film-tech.com. I'm going to put the links to all these on my website, Zero Budget Film School. I'm going to do that after the show. Basically, there is one discussion thread about the Wolverine, which goes for 56 pages. everything you need to know about the Wolverine and every single modification and where you can make it better is on this one discussion group. It is insane how much Stan Jelovic, and I ought to mention a couple of other people, Kamel Iklef, and he's been doing a lot of amazing work modding these Wolverines. Also, Mike Spice, David Brown, and Bruce Davis, they all get honorable mentions because they contributed a lot to this discussion. Mike Spice has done some incredibly nice scans on the Wolverine, and the Wolverine should bloody pay him for the amount of stuff he's done with it, and then probably he's caused lots of people to actually go out and buy one. Not me. I bought one first. 56 pages. We're going to read through them all tonight. No, we're not. Pages and pictures, and oh my god, the Wolverine. It's just Wolverine crazy on this thread. It's in fact, Stan Jelovic has even on the Wolverine Facebook group, the Wolverine Hawkeye group, he's even linked to a spreadsheet where he has actually laid out every single piece of modification hardware he's put into it, and where he got it from, and how much it cost. The guy's a hero. And if you are sort of technically inclined, by all means, get yourself one of these jobbies and just go to town on it, because you can end up with a decent scanner. Another thing about the Wolverine, the one downside of the Wolverine, is that the light is not very bright. In fact, let's have a quick look. You see, this film sits. The film sits on a kind of little a light box there. Oops. There we go. There you go. You see that light, that little square light there? That's actually the light that shines through the film, so the camera up here can film it. That light is not staggeringly bright. It's certainly not as bright as a movie projector. And sometimes if you have a very, very, very dense negative, you're going to have an issue with the light not being quite strong enough to get through that negative. However, that thing, if you've got a projector with a decent enough bulb on it, you can get through some very, very, very dense film. And I had a problem early on when I was filming with Fomapan. I didn't realize that if you develop Fomapan as a negative, there's a silver layer in there which needs to be bleached out to make it a positive. And I didn't know that, but basically if you develop Fomapan as a negative, you get yourself an almost completely black negative, which the Wolverine cannot see through because the light's not strong enough. However, if you do it with the VCR box, as we see here, here are some results of Fomapan negative having been telecined, and it does actually it is bright enough to see right through that. So yeah, here's a Fomapan. So I didn't even realize I was doing something wrong, not developing Fomapan as a positive. I just went ahead and did it as a negative, and then scanned it with my VCR4 box. And I got this, and I thought, hey, this is all right. Everything's going fine. Let's reverse that on the computer and see what that turns out looking like. Let's go forward a bit. Okay, this is at Elephant and Castle, a place in South London. And when you reverse that, of course, all those yellow tints turn into blue. You can get rid of that on the computer, of course, but this is the raw scan flipped into positive. And it doesn't look too bad, really, considering, I mean, that's, it's not pin sharp, but it's not bad, especially as when you look at the film itself, it looks like nothing came out whatsoever. It's completely dark, but shine a bright enough light through it and you get something. Let's read some comments. Oh my God, there's a lot of comments. CJ Costa Rica says, I definitely want to get one of those. Filmboy24 has one, and it really gets really good results. Filmboy24, that's Mike Long, isn't it? Yes. Mike Long, bloody hell, I'm getting onto what he's got. In fact, that's a very nice little segue now into what else is available out there. Well, I mean, we're going basically up and up and up in terms of quality here. So let's have a look here. What do the pros use? What do the real, like, serious scanning people use? Here are some of the things they use. This is a universal retro scan, made by a company called Movie Stuff Universal. This is the Mark I scanner, and this thing was very fancy because you were able to swap out the deck that's on the that's there, and swap it out for different formats. You see, you have these different gates. So there's that one. There's one for Super 8, one for Standard 8. Oh, there's probably one for there's one for Super 8 and Standard 8. There's one for 16mm. There's one for slides. There might even be a 9.5mm. Who knows? Anyway, these things cost about $6,000 or $7,000. It says this item is no longer available. You know why? Because they made a Mark II. Oh, look at this. Universal Mark II movie scanner. Oh, so that previous one, that's what Mike Long's got. He's a previous guest on the show. Great guy. But this is now, $8,495. Holy moly. I think what the deal is here is that these are for either very, very rich people, or they're for people who, for companies that provide scanning as as a service. That's the retro scan one. Now, what else have we got? Oh, Scanstation. This is the laser graphics Scanstation. And this thing will do all formats, up to 6.5K resolution. I'm just reading it here. Scanning up to 50 frames a second. High density scanning. Warped film gate option. Gentle sprocketless. Let's actually, you know what? I have some footage to show you that was scanned on one of these things, so you can see what's going on. I took my grandfather's old 16mm films that he shot back in the 50s. I took them to a friend called Malcolm Billingsley, who did an amazing job with the Scanstation, and he did this, which is like, oh my God, look at that car. I'm sorry, we're going to talk about this car for a second. Bloody hell, they had nice cars in the 50s. What is that even? I don't even know. It's a nice car. That's my grandma on the right, and I don't know who on the left. That might be her mother. I'm not all that sure. I should ask my dad about that. So, yeah, that's my grandmother, younger than I am now. But these were shot, I think it were filmed. I'm not sure what camera filmed these, but they were filmed, I think, at 16 frames a second, which is why it's looking a little bit choppy. But the quality, feel the quality there. My goodness, you've got some good quality there. Look at that. I mean, it's a 16mm shot in the 50s, and it looks better than a lot of phone footage shot last week. I don't know where that is. I think that's Mallorca, could be. I know that my grandparents went to Mallorca a lot on holidays. Who knows? It could be Broadstairs. Who knows? Oh, look, that's my uncle and my dad and my aunt all going down a slide together. Isn't that sweet? But look, never mind what the film's of. I'll show you a little bit of that later on. The quality is very nice on the Scanstation. Where is that? That might be Newcastle. They lived in Newcastle back in the day. Or is it the Festival of Britain? I ought to know, seeing as I'm from London and from Britain. No, I don't think that's the South Bank. Although, who knows? Could be. I ought to get some historian to look at these. I don't think that's the Festival of Britain. That doesn't look very familiar. Anyway. So, what film stock is that? Says Jake Elsmestra. I think it's Kodachrome 2. I think that's it's definitely Kodachrome, and I'm pretty sure it's Kodachrome 2. It's not. Yeah, you're right. It's not faded at all. It looks amazingly good, considering that these were just in a box in a shed for about 50 years. They did a lovely job on it, and Kodachrome, that stuff looks great. If it was developed back in the day, it still looks good. It's amazing. CJ Costa Rica says, "Wow, that looks good. How much were his services?" I got a good deal, but I think people who have Scanstations will often charge something like the last price I saw was something like 45 cents a foot of film. And you might think that doesn't sound very much, but let me tell you, it adds up. Oh my God, it adds up. It depends if you want it in 2K, it costs less. If you want it in 6.5K, yeah, that's going to cost more. Here's another one. Film Fabriek, I think a Dutch company. They make this thing. Well, they make this thing called. They do something called a wet gate scan. Now, wet gate is as it sounds. I don't think this one's a wet gate. This is the newest one. But a wet gate means that the film actually goes through a puddle of fluid and gets scanned underwater, because when it does that, it looks better. It takes away all the scratches. For some reason, when it's underwater, you can't see the scratches. So if you ever see wet gate scanning, jump on it, because you're going to get some serious good quality there. Let's see, the Film Fabriek. This is their new thing. I only discovered this today, called Pictor Pro. And these Film Fabriek people, it probably doesn't cost quite as much as it says, the world's first affordable archival film scanner. So it's possible that you could get one of these things for use at home if you have a lot of film, and if you imagine you're going to be doing a lot of scanning in the future. Slightly annoyingly, there is no price on their website, which is not very comforting. That if there's no price, it's almost like that kind of, well, if you have to ask, then you can't afford it. You know, I would say these are several thousand pounds, dollars, euros. Yeah, you're gonna pay a fair amount for one of these. But if you're really serious into it, then maybe you can find one secondhand. That's the Film Fabriek scanner. So what do you do if you don't have a Wolverine, and if you don't have the money to buy one of these really nice ones, these scans? I think this, by the way, I think the Scanstation here is actually in the like hundreds of thousands. This thing costs. I think someone told me that it was like 250,000, which pounds, which is, or 220,000. That's the price of a bloody house. Not in London, but yeah, it's you could go into business with one of these, and we will get a lot of customers, because it is the balls, this thing. So what are you going to do if you don't have that? If you if you don't really fancy modding your Wolverine, then what? Well, come with me into the world of homebrew scanning. That's right, homebrew scanning, where basically there are people out there, enthusiasts, geniuses, people who are better at this stuff than I am. I'm oh my God, you should see my soldering job. It's horrendous. But you've got stuff like this. My friend Mr. X put this together. It's an old Bell & Howell 16mm projector with a video camera. It looks a bit like a video camera or a DSLR of some sort, pointing right into the projector lens. And then there's the result there. You can actually disassemble a projector, put another bulb in it, because these things work slower than 18 frames a second. They basically pull it one frame at a time and take a picture. You can't do that kind of thing with a hot xenon or lamp. You've got to do that with a cold LCD lamp. And then you get a pretty decent picture. There's Mr. X himself, and there's something he's done. In fact, another one he did was this, which this is one that he did where it pulls the film through slowly, and instead of pulling it over a kind of a light box thing, the camera is actually triggered to make a flash. You can see that thing flashing there. It makes a flash every frame and takes a picture that way, and that's kind of cool, because it means it doesn't have to pull a frame down, stop, wait for the picture, pull the next frame down, stop, wait for that picture. Unfortunately, Mr. X gave up on this one. He cited triggering problems with that, even though he managed to come up with this, which was a very nice scan, 16mm scan of my son playing golf, just knocking a ball about. And there's my daughter saying, "What the hell is he doing now?" Filming. Yeah, there's some problems on the some schmutz on the gate there, which came up there. So yeah, that's what that looks like. What other homebrew stuff? Ah, Pavan Deep made this. Thank you, Pavan, for sending me these pictures. This is an amazing looking thing. A 16 mil. He built the whole thing from scratch, where the film is pulled one frame at a time, and not that. There we go. And a camera is at the other side taking pictures of every frame, and it's triggered as well. The camera is triggered every time it. I think he did it so that the camera got triggered by the actual mechanical action of the scanner, which is amazing. He actually put this together. These are some gates. There's a 16 mil one, a super 16 mil gate, and a regular 16 mil. And so yeah, he made this very, very cool one here. Now, while we're on the subject of homebrew, we're going to our guest tonight, and he has constructed his own homebrew scanning device, and he's going to talk us through it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Manny Salazar. Hello, Manny.
Hey, Ben.
Hey. I'm sorry, I went on for half an hour longer than I said I would up to this point.
Oh, man, the show's been great, dude.
Oh, well, great. Well, let me tell you, there was a lot to get through. There was an unbelievable amount, and you know what? I
was kind of getting ready for that 56-page Wolverine deal, man. I was all right, dude. Let's do this.
Yeah, maybe I should do a show where I just read every single post on that. And let me tell you, it's fascinating. It's so great to see people out there doing this stuff who are better at it than I am. So, Manny, show us what you've got. What did you create to do your scanning with?
I try to make it as simple as possible so hopefully that others can do it as well, man. I'm using, it's gone through a few phases. It's gone through a few more projectors. I was using a GAF 3000 sound projector that only had Super 8. And, you know, I found myself, I needed to switch out the lens. Let me show you what I got going on here.
Into the heart of the beast.
So we're working with the Elmo FPA.
Okay. Now, if people are making these themselves, is there any particular projector or any particular features on a projector which would make a good scanner?
Definitely. You want to have a variable speed.
Absolutely.
And this one maxes out at, I think it's at 22 frames a second. Okay. It doesn't have like a really, really maxed out thing. So what I used was I have a 5-watt or 5-volt LED here.
Right. And it's a panel LED, is that right?
It's a paneled LED that I have with the diffusion here. I'm not gonna mess with it too much, so I can do that. So I can show you guys. I put it on this little film can, so I can twist it, so I can move it about a little bit. I used let's see here. Lens here is an L Omega enlargement lens. I'm gonna set this right here.
Like on a darkroom photographic enlarger.
Right, exactly. And what we're looking for is to have no bowing on the edges. Right? You don't. So these are what are called field lenses. So you get like I believe it's the anastigmatic, and I think the velostigmatic lenses as well can work in the same effect. And each of them have a varied focal distance for it. So you have to set where its max sharpness is to this one. I have let me see where that other dude is. I have another one. This one actually tells you on the side.
Oh,
I'm out of focus.
That's all right. Yeah.
But that one will tell you on the side what the distance should be from your from your film, I get, because you're actually, these are meant for enlargements, of course,
Yeah.
no?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is working back off of the concept of turning a projection lens upside down, turning it around.
Ah, now I can flip that. I can flip that for you when time comes.
Yeah, so there we see
So you, what video camera are you using?
I'm using a Sony AX43, and it has 4K up to 10 bits.
Hmm.
It does 6-bit and 10-bit 4K. It does all of the lower resolutions, of course. At the lower resolutions, it has 60 frames a second. At 4K, it only does 30 frames a second. But I found a lot of success at 60 frames a second, Ben.
Hmm.
So if you can record it, I if you can record at 4K 60 frames a second, I've found you get a
Right.
lot nicer.
The
It's
flickering goes away, does it, at 60?
it's it's cleaner. There is some you get some doubling.
Yeah.
There's definitely
Like
you can do some
in
drop
action.
framing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you start to get some ghosting and that's one of the besides what you talked about with the banding,
Mm.
like one of the toughest things here. Maybe you can see me here. No, no. But one of the toughest things is to have the is once you do record it, like something that some of the problems that I run into with this, besides the projectors being too harsh on the film, because that's another one. This one seems to be the kindest of the ones that I found. Is it seems like the older models. The reason that I chose this Elmo was because it does Super 8 and regular 8,
Okay.
and it does
Yeah. Can you run the projector so we can see?
yeah. Let's do that.
I've flipped the image right way up.
So there we're
And I imagine there's lots of settings on the camera itself as well, like exposure
yeah.
and
See,
stuff
and
like
right
that.
now I have it.
Oh, okay. Oh, we got something. There we go. Oh,
Yeah, me open the gate there
right.
because this is on still now, right?
Okay,
So
okay.
so for your camera settings, what I do is I since I have the camcorder, it has an inner gimbal and the motion stability.
Okay.
I turn that off. I turn the motion stabilizer off. This
Because
camera doesn't let me do complete manual functions for everything across the board.
yeah, always the
It
problem.
only yeah, it only allows me, like, I can manually set all of them, but some of them get set to automatic if I try to mess with them.
Hmm.
So if I set my shutter speed at 50 frames a second, 60 frames a second, whatever it
Yeah.
is, to eliminate the flicker that I want,
Hmm.
it always it'll give me it'll reset and automatically expose everything.
Right.
So I can't lock my exposure, which is key. You want to be able to lock
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
exposure
Yeah.
because in
Absolutely.
between
Yeah.
scenes,
Yeah. Yeah.
you have those, like that depth. And some of the stuff that I sent you, it's clear.
Ah, yeah.
That it's like as that you can tell that it's not the Super 8 that's doing that exposure.
Right.
It's the Telecine
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
so. But a lot of the stuff that does go wrong during telescening, I'm finding, are also happy accidents, just like filming with Super 8.
Hmm.
A lot of them turn out to be these situations that
Well,
it's a
let's.
lot, it's a lot better. So here,
Oh, hang on. I got to flip it round again because I had it
oh
upside
my
down.
bad. Oh, you can
Okay.
see. So
Okay.
here we'll set the white balance.
Yeah.
I'll do a
Now I found that white balance or you know, post is white balance important when you have an old film that's gone kind of purple or
It
discolored.
is.
Although
Yeah.
you can do that after you've digitized, you know, in on whatever Final Cut or Premiere or something like that. But um, I see. So there's all those different
So you have to go through quite a
settings.
bit. See, if I set for this right now, so we're not getting flicker with this particular projector at, I need to have my shutter speed at 48.
Hmm.
If I have it anything above, I start to get a lot more banding.
Okay. Yeah, I
So
found that myself. It's kind of trial and error where
it
you
really
just
is.
find what works best with the, you know, you go back and
So
forth between the projector and the camera and you find settings that work for both. Let's get that.
you notice it is slower, Ben, because of the frame, because of that shutter speed.
Yeah.
So this, of course, would all have to be adjusted in post.
Mm.
Yeah, you can speed it up a little bit so it actually gets up to rate. And to tell you the truth, honestly, since most of the work, all of the work pretty much that I do is with expired film,
Mm.
it, I'm shooting at really slow frame rates out as it is. And
Okay.
my most cherished cameras are the ones that film at 12 frames a second.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that
Yeah.
I found that a really
They need
nice.
a lot of light. Those expired films. That's for sure.
So there we have
But it looks all
that a
right to
little
me.
better.
There's a if you're really looking for the flicker, you can see a little, but you know.
And then of course you can start adjusting it with the light as well.
Hmm. You can you change the brightness of the light? Oh yeah, looks like you
Yeah,
are.
this one I have it on a dimmer.
Right. Well, that's
So
good.
there we can to increase the quality and this with this light in particular, we should talk about for the LEDs. We should talk about the CIR factor.
Uh,
This one didn't give me a rating at the shop that I bought it, so I don't know what it's.
that's the flicker rate of the actual
That's the
LED,
flicker
right?
ratio.
Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah. That.
you want to be working with. I mean, it's a lot nicer if you're working with something like 95
Hmm.
and up.
Okay.
90 in the 90s is really nice. These like your household ones and stuff, they're usually working around 70 to 80 CRI. So you start to get different issues with it,
Hmm.
different banding issues, and
Oh my God! Even more factors to worry about.
yeah.
The,
So like the easy way to eliminate it is get a high CRI rating for your LED,
okay.
and then also for you get a variable speed projector.
Yeah.
The cool thing about that, the GAPS projector, if you notice here, I was getting a higher quality scan off of that one
Hmm.
because that one is it's a sound projector that ran at 18 frames and 24 frames a second with the variable speed that would increase above 24 frames. So I could get near 30 frames a second with it.
Okay. I've got the some previous footage that you sent me. Is that with the
Yeah, I mean,
GAF projector?
the the only one that is with this one was the pipe with the dripping water. Is
I'm not sure
done
what
with
that
the
is.
Elmo. All the other ones were done with the gaff. Yeah.
Okay. So I've got a black and white one here that you sent me. This is a scan that you did previously.
Right. That one
Oh, there's
is
the pipe. There's the dripping water in the pipe.
that's with this projector right here
Right.
that I just showed.
Right.
And that was, of course, had to go through a little bit of post, but I didn't really I don't adjust the contrast or anything because I want to see how true my image is.
Mm. Well, if you can develop your expired film and get a good contrast, then that's brilliant. Because it's, for me, that's my perennial problem is contrast. Getting a good
It is,
contrast
man.
with expired film.
I've been at commending you, but your work is looking fantastic, man.
Oh, thank you.
And it's been looking so good, bro. And
That's what happens when you make lots of mistakes. You you get slowly a bit better. Um,
Something I wanted to add on to what you were saying for the people that you're giving shout outs earlier. I really hadn't heard of. I know about that Hawkeye project for
mm,
sure.
yeah,
But Mike Spice
yeah.
over at Super 8 Rescue. If you guys know about that, go and check his stuff out. He does fantastic work for what was the boat called, Ben? Oh, the boat, the ship, the
Oh,
fantastic
he was on the Ark Royal. Yes, he was
Ark
on the
Royal, man.
HMS Ark Royal. It's a British aircraft carrier. I think it was the only British aircraft carrier. I think, or maybe there was a couple of others that had Harriers on them. But yeah,
Oh,
I've seen some of his scans, and there's incredible footage there. I mean, not just
they,
in terms of the quality of the scan, but just the actual
well,
footage.
because he is using that Wolverine, Ben, he goes through a massive amount of post processing. He goes like through that like film 9. He does, which I've tried out and it crashed my computer. My computer didn't dig it, man. It just totally like floored it.
Mm.
Like, oh, something I wanted to show you though. But yeah, big shout out to Mike over at Super 8 Rescue, and all the Mikes, man. Mike Long too, man. He's doing a great job over there too.
Hello to all the mics from all the Bens and Manny.
I mean, bro, it's funny is that sometimes when I introduce myself to people, they think that I'm saying that my name is Ben. I
What?
have absolutely, yeah, I don't know why. But check this out, Ben. So I got this idea. I haven't had a chance
Yes.
to get to it, but so working off of there's a few projectors that have stepper motors already in them,
Ah, really?
right? So there's a series here. Let me grab one real quick.
Um, Stepper motors. I wonder if that's when I know some projectors can go at like very low frame rates, like at sort of 5 frames a second for super slow motion. I know that some of them can actually have a still a still function where you can stop the projector and project on a single image. Now, they usually it lowers the brightness of the lamp while you do that, so it doesn't burn through the film.
Sorry, but
That's
I
all right.
thought I wasn't ready for. I didn't even think I was going to mention this, but yeah, but there's stepper motors. There's projectors with stepper motors,
Hmm.
and the idea that I have is, you know, you could hook up your phone
Ah,
with. Have you seen these cables? There's the
um,
shutter release cable for the phone.
no, no, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, so they're like I came across them, and it's kind of something that's been like under the mark, and now especially since everybody's using they're not including these 3.5 millimeter cable jacks anymore in phones.
Mm,
I got this one because it did have a 3.5 millimeter jack. By
right.
the way, I dig my Android phone too, bro. I do all my work. I do a bunch of stuff on this, but this guy, you put this in, and then you can take your pictures with this guy. So what I'm
Oh,
thinking is cutting this right here and
oh my God! Hooking it up
connecting it,
directly into the projector.
yeah, connect it to a reed switch. So the switch will tell the phone when to take the picture, and then I position the phone. So then it's running off of the stepper that's
Hmm.
already included in the projector. So you don't have to include a new stepper motor.
Right.
It's already using gear that's included in it, and this was already, I've come across a few. Chinon
Hmm.
made a few brands, a few stepper. Bell and Howell did as well in
Mm-hmm.
their director series
Mm-hmm.
projectors.
Okay.
The I think Gaff as well, and there's so many. Everybody started to do different types of things.
Mm.
Once they started to catch wind of other ones doing it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But for the most part, it seems Chinon gets a bad rap, but they really made an effort
Hmm.
to like include the most into their stuff. It just seems,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't.
yeah. I know. It's. I know that. I mean, I've had a couple of chin-ons, and one of them didn't work properly. But the feature set on the one that did work. I think it was a
Really?
555 or something. It was very good. It had, you know, intervalometer, and it had manual, you know, exposure, and it had a whole bunch of features. The Chinons are not too bad, and the projector. I sold the projector. I was kind of regretting that in the past. Now my other projectors are starting to all fall apart, but but yeah, it's not a bad brand, Chinon.
It's not the one that I was working with a lot, that I did like all of my early wall telecines,
Mm,
and that I really enjoyed. It only had a for the wall telecine, it was a little tough because the wattage was only a 50-watt bulb.
mm,
And if you're going to do a wall telecine, if you have at least 100-watt,
yeah,
75 to 100-watt, you'll get
yeah.
really nice, crisp, clean in, like you know, you won't get that the
The
the softness
vignetting
of
or
the
the
edges, the softness of the edges. Yeah, you're
right,
vignetting and
right. Well, that's an
but yeah.
interesting topic, an interesting question actually. If you're going to film off the wall, how big should the picture be? Because I know that if you get it small, you know, it looks
Mhm.
very bright and very intense. But if you make, you know, if you project on a wall, you're going to have a picture a few feet across. Which
Right.
is better?
Well, you know, I found that curiously, it's really it's a nice way to be able to attenuate your image.
Hmm.
Like if
If it's big,
let's say your projection is very, because the larger you make the projection, the dimmer it starts to get, right?
yeah, yeah,
So let's say your image is coming in really hot when you're making it really small.
hmm.
All you have to do is make it larger. Why, like zoom out, widen it out, and
Yeah,
that image will lighten up. It's not gonna, all those spots that were glaring out at you,
right,
like they're not gonna be hot spotting anymore as much.
right.
So like once you start pulling it out, so I really think it's a gauge on the particular film that you're doing.
Yeah,
You know
yeah, yeah,
what it is that you're projecting, because if you're going to be doing a negative, it's going to be very different,
yeah. So there's going to be a
because
sweet spot.
there is, and of course when you're doing those types of telescenes, it's always better to have or any, like especially for like scans and whatnot, the denser the film, the harder it is to scan.
Yeah. Well, I certainly had that situation with the Fomapan negative that was
Right.
supposed to
So
be reversal. You know, it had that. It was very, very dense. You saw how I managed that. That took a 150-watt bulb to get through
I
that.
did it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
believe
And I filmed it on. I think it was like on at least 800 ISO as well,
it. Right.
just to get the image.
Just to be able to pull something off of it.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. But it's, you know, I at the time I didn't know what I was doing, so I thought, okay, so this is how you do it. But
It's
it's good nowadays that sometimes people come to me with Kodachromes that they've overdeveloped, or it's gone completely dark, and they've, you know, I'm now, at least I'm able to, I have the equipment here that I'm able to get something out of it,
yeah,
really toast it, you know, with the
yeah. It's
bright light.
there's a I had a bunch of footage that I took of my mom when she got out of the hospital last year, like during the whole COVID thing.
Hmm.
She felt very ill at the beginning of COVID,
Oh yeah.
and we lost her for a sec. She
Ooh,
passed away for a second there, and then she went into a coma, and she came back. She's a strong lady.
brilliant.
It was a
Glad
strong
to hear
lady,
it.
and yeah, and you know, she had to relearn how to walk the whole year,
Wow.
and now she's moving about, and it's tough. And
Right.
I'm super, but yeah. So I had footage of her coming out of the rehabilitation center, because
Mm.
she was bouncing around for like 2 months. We didn't get to see her. The moment she went into the hospital, they locked them down, Ben.
Yeah.
So we couldn't do anything, right? So
God, that's awful.
I was filming her through windows. I was filming her through, like,
Mm.
any way that I could.
Mm.
And once she finally walked out, I went and I shot some Super 8. And when I developed it, like, I don't know what the heck was going on through my head. Like I ended up like forgetting about it, and it sat in the developer. It ended up being my first stand development.
Okay.
So, but I was able to salvage it, and I saved it because I was like, I can't get anything off of it from a wall projection.
Right.
It was impossible to get anything off of it from a wall projection. But I was thinking, well, maybe it's like once I get, once I build a scanner, I'll be able to do it. And that was one of the main motivations to get this thing going. I actually be able to see a lot of the footage that I'd shot that I thought, that was unsalvageable.
Right. Yeah. I used the wrong. I tried to do Kodachrome. I was actually doing a workshop. It was scary. I did the wrong. I used the wrong developer for some Kodachrome, and it came out, nearly completely black. And I didn't sort of freak out in front of my pupils. I just said, okay, let's telecine this with the VCR box, and I'm going to show you how you do it. And luckily I salvaged it. It's just when you have
Awesome.
when you have footage which is really important, then you got to pull out all the stops, really, don't you?
You do, man. And I think it's worth the effort. It's
have you ever sent your stuff out to a scanning company?
Yeah. To a scanning company?
Like who's got one of those laser graphics or one of those kind of?
You know what? The last place that I used was the Costco Super 8mm service, which I think they shopped it out to another company that Walmart used the same company.
Yeah.
And it was like the worst developed. It was the worst scan. I saw the scan. I was like, man, I mean, the develop was horrible. They developed it horribly.
Oh, they developed it as well.
Oh, they developed it and scanned it.
Oh dear. Oh, it's a shame.
And it was super cheap.
Yeah.
It came out to like, I don't know, like $30 for both.
Wow.
All together. But they ruined the film.
Yeah, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, dude. I was like, oh, you guys.
I've got your other film here, the color scan you did.
Okay.
Now the film got a lot of scratches on it and everything, so we'll have to look past all of that. But
yeah, that was fault of my not cleaning that gaff scanner after having doing so many scans on it.
Oh, okay.
All that was like grit that had started to just to scratch that film. Right. I need a wet gate film.
Yeah. Wet gate, sort that right out. That's a nice
there it
shot.
is.
Wow. Where's that? Is that?
Yeah. Chicago.
Oh, okay.
That's from the 99th floor of the Sears Tower.
Oh, wow. I think I've been up that. I went up that in 1990.
This was January of the year 2000.
Oh, cool.
I went out and spent it out in DC for the millennium.
Oh, so this was probably like Kodachrome or something, right?
It's K40, yeah.
K40, right. There was back in the day, eh? I wish they had those chemicals, those special dyes that they used to develop Kodachrome in. You saw my grandparents' stuff. It still looks amazing.
Dude, gorgeous, man. I mean, it's really amazing, the retention on it. Archivally, I think it's still going to be digital here come another 100 years down the road.
Well, it's true. The Library of Congress are archiving a lot of their stuff on film, aren't they?
Yeah, digital stuff. Yeah, they're filming a bunch of digital shit.
Yeah, they even convert the digital back to film for storage, because they reckon that the polyester film and the dyes they have these days, that film could last like 1,000 years or something.
Yeah,
it's
it can last a lot longer.
Unlike hard drives, my God, I could I could build a house out of dead hard drives that I've had. It's crazy.
No, yeah, same here. I've lost so much stuff because of a couple hard drives just crapping out. I'm just wishing that I'm just looking at it, like, if I could just get the information off of you, man.
So
But so this was all shot with this was stuff that my buddy shot back in 95, 96, I believe,
yeah.
here in downtown Tucson.
Ah. Oh, Watch and Shoot says you can find good 8mm scanning services on eBay for £5 to £10. Quality isn't too bad. Huh. Yeah, there are people
Yeah,
out there who are doing this kind of stuff. You know, I mean, I guess
there's
if you have a
there's
good
quite a few.
if you have a good scanner, you know, then go into business. There are still, you know, people out there needing scans.
There's a guy on eBay that sells a Telecine device that is designed off of a projector. He
Ah, yeah.
uses like the Elmo GS 1200s though.
Oh, nice.
They're like super sweet ones, and he does and he has some kind of multiplexing.
Oh,
He has it multiplexed somehow. Like he has a high definition camcorder, a 4K camcorder, and then there's like a separate like multiplexing device that he uses to do like like possible HDR like RGB scans.
Some comments coming through. Barry says film's not affected by EMPs either. That's right. Yes, if there's any kind of like a solar flare or something that's going to fry up all our electronics, film's going to go on perfectly well. Although it's true that unexposed film might be in trouble. And CJ Costa Rica says the technology will be advancing, so better restorations of films will be out every 5 years. That is a good point, and you know, on that point, I've got to say, a lot of people get their films scanned, and then they throw away the films because they figure that, oh, we got the digital now, we don't need it anymore. And it's really worth keeping it even after scanning it, because you know more scans come along. Back in the day, they scanned stuff using VHS cameras, and you know then came digital video, then came high def, and then came 2K, and then 4K. You know, there's no reason why that technology shouldn't get better and better. So it's always worth keeping your originals because you know.
Yeah, that seems essential, man.
Yeah.
Your archive. That's your archive, man.
Yeah, and it's still, you know, what's amazing is that, you know, I've got a film from 1990. I went on holiday. I went to the US and on holiday, and I got the scan done of the film that I shot, and it looked a bit dodgy in 1990, and then more recently I got it scanned at higher quality, and suddenly I can see so much more information there, and the information was not in the VHS scan. Obviously it was still there in the film, just waiting to be discovered.
It is.
And so even if you're scanning your stuff, put your films on a reel, keep that reel somewhere cool and dark, I guess, and dry. Keep it away from moisture, and wait for the next generation of video to come out.
That's the whole thing, right? I was doing it with this one. This is what I used to Telecine with.
It's a digital handycam.
Yeah, it's digital 8, a high 8.
Right.
And usually I wouldn't even record it in digital 8. I would just record it in just regular standard format, so I could have longer tape times. Yeah. So it was.
Lyndon B says, like playing back old vinyl with a better stylus. Yes, very, very, very similar kind of deal. Yeah. Anyway, listen, Manny, we're going on and on and on, and the two of us, we can talk for another 3 or 4 hours, but I think we've well, I've basically come to the end of my knowledge of everything scanning wise, and I hope we've kind of educated the viewers. But I want to thank.
I wanted to say that I have a video up on my channel, how to Telecine in 2021 on Manny's World.
Yeah, let's have a plug. You're on YouTube as Manny's World, is it?
Mm-hmm. It's Manny's World. and it has the gaff scanner, and some footage of what I worked with that, and yeah. So, and any questions that anybody has, toss them out to me. If you guys want to toss them out on my channel or here on Ben, and I'm sure Ben will let me know about it. Or
yeah, there we go. T.O. Manny's World. There's your YouTube right here. If anyone wants to see what Manny's been up to, Manny does. I'm going to plug you here. So yeah, Manny does all these films about filmmaking, about cameras. Look at all these films. Oh my God, you've been busy. Yeah, cameras, projection, scanning, everything. So I advise everyone to go to T.O. Manny's World on YouTube, where you've done you're doing God's work, as I say to most of my guests.
You as well, Ben. You as well, man.
Thank you,
man.
Well,
Pleasure
yeah.
to be here with you, man.
Anyway, Manny, I'm going to say goodbye because we've got to wrap it up at some point. But thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Ben.
And yeah, we'll see you again when we got something else to chat about.
Thank you, man.
See ya. Okay, that was T.O. Manny Salazar there. Great. It's amazing how this has become, with the internet, this has become such a fantastic worldwide community. Sometimes you just do all this stuff and you just think you're working alone in a vacuum, but you're really not, because other people are out there, not just me, other people. So let's finish up with a little film just to film. I will be back, by the way, in 2 weeks. I'm taking next week off. Unfortunately, I have to work, and the work cannot be avoided, unfortunately, but and I'll be on a train at this time next week, so I can't join you. I might do a not the camera show, where I just come online and I don't have anything planned and we just chat next week. But I'll do a proper camera show in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks' time, Thursday, the 10th of June. And to see you all off, well, I've got some more footage here from my grandparents' trip. Oh, South Africa, 1952. My God, they went to South Africa. It's not very politically correct in 1952. Look at that. They made the effort. My grandpa made the effort to actually to show the globe where South Africa was. So I know that my friend Petko Lordenoff is going to like this. He's from South Africa. There's some carvings they got. En route Madeira cloths. What are they talking about? Oh my God, they must have taken a boat there. Holy moly. Yeah, I guess back in the day you couldn't just get on a plane, could you? I guess in 1952. And well, let's go forward a bit, see what else we got. Okay, it's the usual meeting of old relatives. Looks very hot. More old relatives. I better ask my dad who all these people are. Okay. Yes. So obviously they went and saw a bit of local culture. Some Zulu dancing and whatnot. This was filmed, as I said, on a 16mm camera. I'm not sure what it was, probably a Bell & Howell, and scanned on a laser graphics Scanstation. Oh, I wish they had sound on this. I love African music, and I love the drumming. It certainly didn't sound like this. Anyway, thanks Manny for dropping by, and thanks everyone for dropping by. Been very busy on the comments tonight. I hope we've gone through a bit of the myriad scanning options you have out there, and all the different ways you can do it. If I can give you one more piece of advice, it's watch out for your frame rates. Get Filmic Pro on your phone, or get on a get a projector with a variable speed output, and then you too can have amazing footage like this. Wow. piece of history right here. That's it. Okay, and I will see you. I will see you all. I won't see you. You'll see me on the 10th of June, where we're going to talk about, what is that? Developing for beginners. Yes. If you want to develop your film and you don't have any equipment whatsoever, I'm going to take you from the ground up how to develop your own film. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and show you how to do it for like no money, starting at absolute zero of developing your film. In fact, I'm going to put together, between now and 2 weeks' time, I'm going to put together an entire developing system for less than the price of one Super 8 cartridge. Yes, it can be done. Maybe less than the price of 2 Super 8 cartridges, so I don't get into too much trouble. Yes, I'm going to show you how to do it. But that's it. That's it. Thanks, everyone. Oh, my goodness. What a day. That's it. See ya. Let's watch a bit more of this. Oh dear, that guy got a cut on his head. Is he alright? That guy's got headphones in his ears. Is he a time traveller? Nah, get back in there. You're fine. Oh dear. Oh no! Oh my God! There's a segregated audience. That's not good. Hopefully things have changed since then. Petco, Lordinoff, tell us that things have changed since then. Oy vey. All right, I'm off.